Transition Tuesday. I'm Jane. This is Joe. So today, continuing in our series about Joe's last year of school and all the transition changes and planning we're experiencing. Today, as you can see, Joe is chillaxing on his daybed. And it's appropriate for today's topic, which is the trouble with CP, cerebral palsy. That's Joe's primary diagnosis. He has, on paper, spastic quad CP, which means that his tone is very tight, his muscles are rigid, and he has that rigidity in all four extremities, quad. So, what it's really important to know about that is that CP is experienced differently by everyone who has it. There are similarities, and there are treatments which doctors use as a standard for spasticity, or people who have low tone or high tone, or people who have hemiplegia or diplegia or quadriplegia. But everybody I know, every person with CP that I know experiences the challenges of being a person with CP differently. So Joe's challenges are pain management, communication, building a team, and planning with flexibility. Now, when I talk about challenges, I'm talking about the challenges that we are experiencing in his transition planning. Yes, they are daily living challenges as well, but primarily what we're referring to is what these challenges, how they impact our transition planning. So for Joe, spasticity and pain make his life challenging. Some 21-year-olds would prefer to spend a whole day laying around. But for Joe, sometimes that's a necessity, not a choice. So pain management, primarily we're doing with medication right now. Last year, Joe had a surgery on one of his hips, and that helped, but it was not a cure. It resolved the issue of his hip dislocation, but the CP, which caused his hip to dislocate, is still there. So the pain if you constantly tensed up your muscles, you would experience pain, and that's kind of what Joe deals with on a daily basis. So what we're finding out is that when Joe was receiving care through pediatric medical providers, it seemed to be easier to get answers to questions, access to doctors, access to care. I don't know why, but it seems like you're going along and then it's almost like you fall off the edge of a cliff, because finding a practitioner who treats adults with the kind of CP that Joe has, which impact all areas of life, his mobility, his daily, hygiene, his ability to eat, his ability to speak. CP has impacted everything in Joe's life, and finding a practitioner who has experience in working with adults like Joe is very difficult to find. At least it is in Georgia. And so, we're struggling a little bit to find doctors who, if they don't have experience treating people like Joe, will they even treat someone like Joe? I'll use the example of orthopedic doctors. What we've discovered is, unlike pediatric doctors, orthopedic doctors in the adult world tend to focus on one body part: shoulder, spine, hip, knees. They're not like, you think orthopedic bone, like bone doctor. Well, it turns out that in the adult medical world, most of those physicians' primary specialty is just in one area. So if your shoulder gets dislocated, you would go to Dr. A, but if you need hip surgery, you go to Dr. B. So that's been a real awakening for us in trying to find practitioners. We've encountered a few office staff people who are not as welcoming, maybe, as the pediatric office staff tend to be. It feels more like sometimes they don't want to serve somebody like Joe, and that's pretty tough. It's pretty tough, and I'm getting better at asking screening questions, and learning how to navigate some of that, because a couple of times the office staff has been very challenging to deal with, where they want to see our power of attorney papers, and I brought them on a flash drive that I keep on Joe's chair, and they had no way to read the flash drive. So they were going to turn us away. And I said, well, we had an appointment and I brought his power of attorney forms, and it's not my fault that you can't see them. And fortunately, they decided to let us see the doctor anyway. And the doctor was fabulous, but the front office staff was challenging to deal with. So Joe really needs an advocate to navigate some of those office and procedural problems that who knew we would even encounter. So this is why I'm talking about this, because when we started his healthcare transition planning at age 18, we thought we had everything kind of put in place. But it turns out that there have been obstacles that I didn't anticipate, like having hip surgery. For years and years and years, Joe's pediatric doctor said, oh, I don't think he's a good candidate for hip surgery, until he was. Now, fortunately, we were able to get that done before Joe turned 21, and couldn't use pediatric doctors anymore. So I'm grateful for that. Which brings me to my next point. Plans change, and they often do. So that's one of the big takeaways in this new realm of transition planning that Joe and I are working on, is that planning is great, but you have to be flexible, because situations change, rules change, laws change, policies change, a person's daily life situation could change. You just never know what could happen. Not wishing this, but I could fall and break my leg, and we'd have to redo everything we're working on around my recovery of my broken leg. So we may have planned to go on a trip, or Joe does aquatics therapy. I'd have to find someone else to take him to therapy. I mean, all moms and dads deal with this kind of thing in daily life when you're squiring kids around to their different activities. But for an adult who has needs, it's a little more challenging because, you know, it's a little different. Like, I can't just ask anybody to pick Joe up because he requires a wheelchair accessible vehicle. So we have to plan with flexibility in mind. And this is what I'm learning about our new dynamic and transition planning. Joe is very relaxed, as you can see, about all of this. Of course, he's not quite the type A personality that his mom is. So there you have it. But we appreciate you joining us and sharing our journey with Joe's last year of school. We sure do appreciate you, and we will see you next time.